to the White House Press Secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's with us in New York. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about this. There have been a head-spinning number of developments just in the last 24 hours,
right.
But we have 3 accusers who are willing to put their names to their accusations. Now, apparently, there are 2 men who've come out and said, no, I'm the attempted rapist. What's the rush? Why not have a further investigation? As you know, Senator Grassley's already got the vote scheduled for tomorrow. Why not a fuller, more comprehensive investigation?
Well, I think that's one of the frustrations that I think all Americans have. But that's at the hands of the Democrats. They held on to this. They should have brought this forward. Senator Feinstein had that letter for 2 months and never brought it to the table.
All of that is true, but it's in the hands of the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee and the president now. So why don't they say, you know what? We want to exonerate Brett Kavanaugh. Let's look into this. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's take our time and not try to rush it through.
I think that's exactly what we're doing. Today is a big part of that process. We've been pushing to hear from these individuals. As soon as the accusation was made, they created a platform. I find it interesting. I don't question the stories, but I certainly question the tactics that these individuals were more than willing to give interviews to the Washington Post, to the New Yorker, but refused to sit down with the Senate Judiciary Committee. I mean, to me, that is problematic and certainly one of the big frustrations that we've seen in this entire process. And I think that's why today is so important, because you won't only hear from Dr. Ford, but also from Brett Kavanaugh. And it's a very important part of this process.
I mean, we're talking about Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh. We are going to hear from them. There is a central witness here, somebody that is alleged to have been in this very room. His name is Mark Judge. Why wouldn't the Republicans on the committee subpoena him and have him come in and say what he saw happened?
Well, and maybe that happens at some point, but I think that you've got a number of people who are very good at going through this process. The Senate
vote's scheduled for tomorrow, right? So it doesn't seem like they're going to call him.
And they've moved votes before, but at the same time, Democrats have known about this. If they wanted to go through a 2-month process, why didn't they bring this up in the middle of Kavanaugh's hearing? Why didn't they bring this to light? They knew about it. They said it. It's because they want to play political games. And I think if people have any frustration with the pace and the speed, then there is no place to look other than at the Democrats, who have turned this whole thing into a complete circus.
No question that this came very late in the day. However, there is a person who has the power to say, pause, let's look into it. It's President Trump. He is the person who could say, I would like the FBI to look into all of these matters. Why doesn't he do that?
The FBI has investigated Brett Kavanaugh 6 different times.
But not on these allegations.
And not one time. But the way that the FBI background investigation works, and you've probably been through one, I know I have, they talk to everybody that knows you, knew you, and nothing ever came up. Not one time, but 6 separate times he's gone through that process. It's extensive. It's thorough. They knock on your neighbors' doors. They go back to your classmates from high school and college.
No question about it.
And nobody ever mentioned this.
That's no question about it. But people have mentioned it now. I mean, you have 3 named accusers. Why? And no matter how you end up coming down on the issue, why not just get the information out there and have an investigation?
That's exactly what we're doing. That's why this day is so important. And I think the president could not have been more correct when he said that this is a very pivotal moment in our country. We're moving away from a moment where it used to be that you were innocent until proven guilty. And now an accusation is made and it destroys somebody's life, whether it's real or not. I'm often asked about being a parent. Sarah, you have a daughter. I also have 2 sons, and I wouldn't want a false accusation to be what determined the rest of their life.
Sounds like there's a rush to judgment on both sides, because the president came right out and said yesterday, before hearing any testimony, this is false. These allegations are false.
He's also heard from Brett. He knows him. He knows the type of individual he is. He knows the extensive background check process that he's been through and the fact that none of these things have come up. But he also said, and I think it's really important and it's been ignored a lot, that he wanted to hear her story and that he was going to listen and he would make that determination at that point. We feel like today is very important for both individuals to be able to come out. But Brett Kavanaugh has been unequivocal from day one in his denial that anything like this ever happened. And everybody that knows him and knows him well has said the same thing.
Well, we know we'll all be watching at 10 o'clock Eastern today. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, nice to see you in person. Thank you very much. We're going to have a lot more ahead as we count down to this morning's critical hearing. And by the way, you can see it. It will be live. It'll happen right here on NBC. Our special coverage beginning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern today.